Good morning, I'm Cynthia Bruno. Now, this is no secret. The state of Illinois is facing a huge budget crisis. Governor Bruce Rauner hopes to turn that around. He is delivering his first budget address coming up this afternoon. We are keeping you connected to the Capitol this morning. WCIA3's Jessica Coons joining us live from the State House this morning. And Jessica, lawmakers, they are finally hoping to hear some of these details from Governor Rauner.
Well, Drew, we're seeing a lot of downed tree limbs. You can see one right here behind me. We're on the far west side of Danville this morning, kind of in a low-lying area, and people in areas like this are also going to be dealing with a lot of flooding. That's another major concern that people are waking up to this morning. In this area right here, this mobile home area, people actually had to be evacuated last night because of all the flooding, and you can see the evidence here by all the standing water in people's yards and kind of creeping up over the road as well. There were about 96 reports of severe weather last night because of these storms that rolled in between this area and the Peoria area as well. Again, downed trees, limbs on the road, debris as you're heading into work this morning that you're going to want to watch out for. That is certainly a lot of the damage that we're seeing, and a lot of it coming from those very strong winds. Another thing we're seeing is power outages, and those are still affecting some people as they wake up this morning, even thousands of people across central Illinois. Even for those who live, ironically, on Power Lane. Champaign crews repaired lines knocked down by the storm last night. At last check, we had about 2,000 people in Champaign County without power, 2,400 in Peoria County without power, and about 550 in Effingham County. And severe winds left the Champaign greenhouse in pieces as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video. This is from the front of Danville Gardens Flower Shop, which is on Prospect near Bloomington Road.
But what do you say to the families who are caught in the middle of this and going without some of the state services that they depend on to get by?
They're tough conversations. They really, really are, because they're the ones that are caught in the middle. They're the ones that are being held hostage to this stalemate. And the best that we can tell them is that we do believe at some point there's going to be a budget in place, that there will be a balanced budget, and I do believe that.
In this investigation in particular, is there any piece of evidence that you can pinpoint that really led to making the arrest of those two suspects?
Well, I think what gets us there is the use of smartphones, technology, and the skills that have come with the detectives as they advance with the technology, learning how to do that, cooperations after search warrants with some of the providers of information that gives the key details to refute statements that suspects may say, I didn't do that, and we could say, well, what do you think about this? And then allow us to carry that forward.
And some of those, you guys are saying that some of those facts show that the victim and one of the suspects had some sort of relationship or prior knowledge of each other.
Yeah, and I think when you're able to say that, now we know that you've talked to him, and here's how we know, that kind of changes the context, and you set the standard of the investigation or the interview kind of goes on from there. So having technology, some history had already been done, really paved the way for a lot of the work that was done.
Tell me what happens with this case now moving forward.
Okay, so now they've got a lot of time. They've got to sit down and put all this together. They've got to package it along with the reports from the coroner's autopsy, the state's attorney's office, all the interviews, and it's got to be combined and provided to State's Attorney Julia Reitz for her staff to begin calling over all the details and preparing her best case to move forward.
And you mentioned that, you know, there were reports already gathered from U of I Police Department, Champaign Police, who are working this missing persons case. Is that difficult then to get all that information from so many different agencies?
I think it's a challenge, but it's part of what we do. It's one of those things where you learn to compile it all together, put it in a way that it's going to clearly share the message. And yeah, it's a challenge, but that's what we're ready for.
All right, Chief Deputy Alan Jones, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
We've got more of the morning show coming up next.